This is JJ Humphrey. We're on OCP Live. Hey, my good friend Bobby Cleveland is not with us today. Bob took a much needed vacation, and I've visited with him just about every day that he's been on vacation. And he's having a good time. He went to Branson, Missouri, coming back today. And so I just want to say, with Bob not here, I wouldn't want him to get a big head or anything because I don't want to brag on him too much. But guys, I just want to tell you that you would not have a better friend, or you don't have a better friend than Bob Cleveland. If you're in corrections, Bob is doing so much for you that you just don't realize, and he's fighting for people who are uh, improperly demoted, people who are not correctly fired, who are wrongfully fired. He's fighting for your rights. He's fighting to clean up prisons, to get more help, more people there for pay. This guy's been a champion for corrections. He's been a champion for you. I do want to encourage you to join OCP. Get you a cool T-shirt. Join OCP. This is the right time to do it. It is time to build your association, and it's time to start being able to go to the legislators and have a strong association. It's time that that you have an association that can have influence on your director. This director that we currently have is just been. I mean, he's been devastating for your association, and don't let him ruin that. Don't let him ruin your association. It's time you stand up. It's time you join, and it's time that you get a strong association for the employees. That you, as the employee, have a voice in the legislature, have a voice in your workplace. And so I just want to encourage you that, man, Bob's been a champion for that. And guys, y'all just don't know behind the scenes how many calls he takes, what he does, works with lawyers, and works at the legislature to try to help you. And man, he's got a heart. I've seen times that he cries over people because of their situations, over things that were done. And he cares deeply for each and every one of you. So I just want to take this time just to say how much I appreciate him. Guys, before we get started on today's update, this weekly update, I also just want to say that I was interviewed yesterday on Charlie Kirk on that situation. And guys, I don't care where you come down, what side of the politics you're on. This is not about politics. It's about good versus evil. That's what this is about. This is about that you had a guy that showed. I mean, you want to talk about a hero. You want to talk about a patriot. You want to talk about somebody who showed everybody, no matter what side of the aisle. You may have not liked what he had to say. I loved what he had to say. A lot of people said what he said was hate speech. There was no hate. There was all love in everything that he said. He had respect. He listened to people. He debated ideals. He respected other people's ideals. And he, of course, the guy was brilliant. I mean, he was brilliant. It was hard to win a debate with him. That's what made people so mad, because he was so effective and he had such a powerful place with the youth. But guess what? People my age love to listen to him too. I love to listen to his debates so that I could learn how to be a better debater. And also just the fact of how he was able to keep his cool and win with intellect instead of yelling and screaming. And the yelling and screaming generally come at the other side. They're talking about hate, guys. And if you work in prisons and you work around people who cheat always accuse other people of cheating. People who lie always accuse other people of lying, and people who hate always accuse other people of hating. If you want to see the hate, listen to the vitriol that comes from the left liberal groups. And again, you notice I don't say Democrat on that. There's a lot of good Democrats out there, great Republicans. But here's the deal. What we're saying is the radical left, crazy left, and they're spewing hatred. And this is the result of that hatred. And again, I don't care where you are on this spectrum. to listen to people take joy in another man being killed in the way this man was killed tells you those are sick individuals. And guys, as a country, we can't do that. And so I just want to encourage you. It's time that we start taking a playbook from Charlie Kirk and that we start having respect for each other, that we can have differences. It's okay to have differences. In fact, I get worried about you if you agree with me all the time. It's okay to disagree with me, but can you articulate why you disagree with me, and can you show me the facts to the point that you can make me change my mind? You know what I mean? I can listen, walk away and go, you know what? I need to check out what that person says and go in there and study that. And a lot of times I'll change my mind on a subject if somebody has the right information. If somebody's right, they're right, and I go check that out. And that's what Charlie Kirk's life was about, is to take on these hard issues and to call them out. Again, guys, just because I say that transgender people have a mental health condition, guys, if you think you're something that you're not, that's a mental health condition. If you think you're Superman, I got a news bulletin. You ain't Superman. You know what? If you think that you're a animal, guess what? You got a news bulletin. You're not a furry. You're not an animal. That's a mental health problem. Okay. And if you think you're a woman when you're a man, that's a mental health problem. And to call that out is not being mean. That's just being factual. Okay. If we say it's daylight outside, that's because it's daylight outside. But if I go out in the dark and say, hey, it's daylight, and you're supposed to believe me and supposed to treat me like it is, well, guess what? No, I can tell you, you're absolutely wrong. You are not correct, and I'm not going to change my entire life. We're not going to change the country. We're not going to build new bathrooms. We're not going to have you in women's sports. All of these things are not hate. It's just fact. That's fact. And because we're not going to be morons and run around and act like morons, and that we can say that's moronic, it makes no sense. That don't mean we're hating on people. That means that we're telling facts. And again, he did it in a much classier way than I'll ever do it. And I just want to take a second to just say, hey, it's time to bring down all of that kind of hate. And again, guys, we bring it down, but here's the other thing: we got to call out when they're doing it. We've got to stop it. That's got to be stopped. These people have got to be held accountable, or we're going to lose our whole country. And it's time for us that are the common sense, the people who are rational, to call out the irrational and start holding them accountable for the words that they say. They want to talk about hate speech. They're the ones talking hate speech. It's time we call them out on it. So if you're hearing it, don't tolerate it. Don't put up with it. You call it out. That's hate speech, and we've got to make it quit. Just wanted to come on here and say a few words about that. It's destroying our country. And guys, it's up to each and every one of us. It's not, Charlie Kirk proved this. Charlie Kirk was not a politician. Charlie Kirk was not the president. Charlie Kirk was not, he's just an average individual like you or me. And look what he did. He didn't have a college degree. So when you're saying, hey, what can I do? Well, guess what? You can do all kinds of things. And so again, I wanted to say that to say, you know what? You know where you have the most impact? You have the most impact where you are. And again, look at that guy. He just went into college campuses, started having conversations, and look what it turned out to be. He called it turning point. I hope this is the turning point for our country. I hope that his turning point will not end, but it will be the turning point for us as a nation to make this event turn us to the place that we need to be. And again, I'll tell you, I openly say we need to come back to God as a country. But at the end of the day, the point that I want to leave us with on this conversation is that you can have an effect where you are. And where you are is in the Department of Corrections, or you have somebody in the Department of Corrections. A lot of times it's the loved ones listening. But you can have impact in your workforce. You can have impact on how you are going to demand that you are treated. You can have impact on how you change the environment. You can have impact on those inmates that you're entrusted to supervise, that you model a professionalism. And so, guys, but it takes courage. It takes courage to stand up to a rogue administration. It takes courage to stand up where, that they may go after you. It takes courage. And again, it's not always, we see in this, it doesn't always turn out the way that we would want it to turn out. But guys, it's called courage. It's called standing up and doing the right thing. And that's why I want to encourage you to join OCP, not just join, get involved in how legislation is going to impact your prison, impact your work environment. Get involved in demanding that you are treated fairly as an employee. Get involved in demanding that we have set numbers at each prison, that we have the correct numbers, because that's what's going on. You have a shortage of staff. And so just want to encourage you in those things and ask you to join, ask you to get involved, ask you to change the state of Oklahoma, the prison system in the state of Oklahoma. Guys, I can have impact. I know I'm having impact, but guys, it takes every one of us. And when we join together and we get a strong association, we can be powerful. We can change this state. We can have such an impact that we can change the other states. We can show the rest of the world what you do and how to change it. It can start right here. And so again, that's what I believe. That's what I wake up and fight for every day. And again, whether it's with DOC or DHS or in state government, guys, I'm calling out issues. Now, if you think that don't come at some cost with me, I want to assure you that I've lost my chairmanship. They won't allow me to have a bill. There's several of them up there that don't talk to me because I've called them out. I've filed lawsuits on them. They're really mad at me. I filed grand jury petitions on people. They're really mad at me. But again, I haven't said anything that's not right. I haven't done anything that is not documented. And again, wouldn't have to do it. Shouldn't have to fight DOC. Shouldn't have to fight our government to prove that heinous things are going on that need change. Why aren't they joining us in changing those things, whether it be rapes in prison, covering up PRIAs? And guys, if you work in there, you know I'm telling the truth. There ain't nobody doubts I'm telling the truth. Everybody knows corrections has massive problems, but yet we try to act like, oh no, there's no problems over here. No, we got everything under control. Everybody knows that's the biggest lie there ever was. So guys, why not come out and admit we've got issues on officers having sex with inmates, and we need to address those. We have inmate on inmate rapes, and we need to quit covering those up, and we need to address those. We have stabbings and beatings every day, and we need to address those. Guys, we have human rights violations. I would ask you not to take part in any kind of those. I would ask you do not cover up murders. I would ask you do not cover up rape. I would ask you do not cover up PRIAs. Don't be involved in it. All of those are bad juju that you do not want to be involved. And again, I understand not going after your administration, but I would make sure that I documented, here's what I saw, this is what I saw, and this is a report I'm turning in. If I see something wrong, I'm going to turn it in. I'm not going to fight you over it. I'm not going to, turn you in. I'm just going to turn in my report, and that's where I'm at. Guys, that's what you need to do. Make sure that you cover yourself when they're doing astronomical wrong. And we know there's massive amounts of fraud and lies and cover up going on in the Department of Corrections. And I would ask you to make sure that you cover yourself. Make sure that you don't get yourself in trouble. Guys, I want to tell you this week, I think we had 2 deaths there at Dick Connors is what I had reported. I think we had a death at Crabtree and we had a death at Allen Gamble. I mean, my gosh, Allen Gamble, it's almost weekly that we got something going on there. And so again, guys, whether it be Dick Connors, last week I think I reported on that new drug uh, and Zetaline, starts with the Z, I think. Anyways, I don't know the drug name, brand new drug. Uh, Ketamine is also one that's out there. So we don't know what drug it is that was going out. Now, here's what's funny. Wouldn't you, as a department, want to make certain that if you have a drug that is in your prisons, that is a new drug that is coming out and that is killing multiple people or causing one prison, Great Plains, I think they had 4 OD one day. Now, guys, I would think that as a department, now here's, and I hope the director's watching today. I always would invite you to watch, Director. And I'm proud that you are the new director. And I know it's interim, but you know what? I hope that you will do such a great job in interim that you can continue. I have no ill will for you. I have nothing but good. I want to see you succeed. But I'm going to tell you something. If you have a drug like that, you better be getting the information out to every prison. Y'all have stopped. The department has stopped communicating with your people. You have stopped any information in your efforts to cover up everything, to keep anybody from knowing the truth, what's really going on. In your efforts to cover up, you have stopped all communication between your facilities. Now, if you have that kind of drug, should an officer be going in there and handling that? Should you not be doing training on those drugs? Should you not be getting that information out to every prison? Hey, here's this drug. Here's what it does. Here's the symptoms. Here's how to identify if somebody's on that, so that we see is that we can head it off in other prisons, or we're able to tell when some of the inmates are on these drugs. We want to know how those drugs are getting in, what to look for, and we also want to know how to handle that as we're going down into these housing units and we're handling all their goods and things. We need to know what it is that we're coming in contact with, and we need absolute training on that. So again, here's what I don't understand. I go the complete opposite way of what the Department of Corrections has chose to do. They have chosen the ostrich in the sand technique. Stick your head in the sand and hope that that we never get called on anything. Stick your head in the sand and maybe it'll all go away. And at the end of the day, it doesn't go away. The ostrich stick your head in the sand technique, it doesn't make the problem go away. It makes the problem bigger because you don't address the problem. Guys, think about in your own life. How many problems have corrected themselves for you? I don't know about you guys, but if I got an engine knocking, if I ignore it, it don't get less knocking. It generally gets louder knocking. It generally grows into a problem. Where if I would have went and addressed it, I got a $150, $200 problem. Anymore, ain't no $200 problem. But you understand what I'm saying. It costs less when I address it early. It's easier to fix when I address it early. It's easier when I identify it quickly and get on it quickly to take care of. When I ignore it and after the engine's blown, guess what? Now I got to pull a whole engine. Now I got to shut down. Now it's all very expensive, very problematic. And that's what we've got going on in the Department of Corrections. They have stuck their head in the sand and they have ignored and denied and lied about all the problems that they have. And again, they have not addressed them. And the thing about it is, it's okay to say, hey, we just don't know how to get this done. We're being unsuccessful, and ask for help or ask for ideas outside of their own self to say how we do this. A great example, biggest issue you have, and I just mentioned all of these deaths. We talked about 4 deaths this week, and again, we know little about them because guess what? They don't put any information. They lie and cover it up. So here's the thing. We've got these 4 deaths. All right. Last week, I think we had 3 deaths. The week before that, I think we had 3. We'd had to go back and check. We've had a pretty long run of about 2 to 3, up to 4 deaths every week for quite a long run. Okay. And I will tell you this, we've been doing this for quite some time. And I can tell you let's just say since the director, Hart came over, probably within 6 months of him being here, from that 6 months on, I would be highly shocked that you have not had somebody lose their life. If we've had a period of 2 weeks where nobody lost their life in the last 3 years, I'd plumb fall out of my chair. I would be shocked to find out that there was a 2-week period where we didn't have somebody die, lose their life, something. Okay. Now, again, how do you address those problems? One of the biggest problems right there is shortage of staff. Okay. And so we saw Director Crow, under Director Crow, we had pointed out very, very adamantly, very strongly, that they had a massive shortage of staff. Now, they denied that and said, well, it's only 300. That was a lie. We got down 6 months later. They come in, okay, we're 940. That may have been pushing it a little bit. I know for a fact we were 750, somewhere in there. They may have padded the number 940 to try to get a little more money. I don't know. But anyways, they claim to be 940 short. We'll go with that number. You're 940 officers short going into HARP accepting the director position or being appointed to the director position. So when he took over that, he was extremely grossly short on staff. And they had a big push. They had a big push to get an academy, and they did get quite a bit of an academy. They got a good, I think, man, they had a full academy about 3 or 4 times there, if I remember correctly. But here's the problem. About as quick as they come in, they went out. And again, we had people getting fired, or we had people quitting because of conditions. And so you never really got any above where you were at. And if you've watched in the last 3 years, we're not above where we're at. We're worse. You're way worse off right now than you were when Director Crow was here. HARP has been a disaster. And he has taken you to a low I could not even imagine as corrections. And here's what I would say, Director Farris, if you're listening, if you take over, when I was a probation officer, if I took over your case, I went in there and drew a line and said, this is where you were, and this is when I accepted that case. And I started today. I took this guy had to go through that file, and I would try to find everything that was wrong. And I would write that out. Hey, I found this. It's wrong. And then I would start documenting how I fixed all of those problems. That way, if anybody ever come in and said, oh, hey, y'all didn't do this. Hold on. No, that guy didn't do this. And this is what I've done to correct that problem. Okay. Director, I'm telling you, what you need to do is you need to draw a hard line between you and HARP. You need to draw a hard line. This is where that guy was in control. And because I worked for him, I did what he said. But you need to draw a line to say this is the day that Director Farris started, and this is the difference between me and him. And as long as you keep doing things the way he did, if you do it the HARP way and you continue to follow in the tracks of HARP, guess what? You're going to fail. And your entire staff is looking to you to see, will you be different? Will you be the person that turns the ship around and actually creates an environment where inmates employees, and everyone can flourish under your leadership. You got to have a vision. You got to have a vision. And people need to catch your vision. It needs to be contagious. But if you don't have a plan and you don't have a vision, and if you're not passionate about that vision and plan, then you are not going to be successful. Your plan must involve in employees. And there's several steps you need to take towards employees. One, how do we recruit more employees? And I will tell you the biggest way, the first way to recruit new employees is start treating the employees you have right. Start treating the employees you have. Acknowledge that you are making them work ungodly hours. Acknowledge that you are shorthanded and begin to work with them on how to solve that issue. Stop firing. Let me tell you one of the biggest issues you have that just blow my mind. How are you firing people for what appears like absolutely nothing? We're whooping y'all's butts in court over there. That ought to be a big list. That ought to be something that is a alarm clock blasted. That ought to be an alarm in your ear, Director, that you lose every case over there. Every case in a court that's set up 500 degrees for you. You got everything set for you to win in court, and you're getting beat on every case. And that ought to be a wake-up call. That ought to be something to tell you that something's not being done right in your department. Next, you have all of these employees that are getting demoted. You got employees that's been with you 15, put in 18 years that are being fired or demoted for absolutely ignorance. You got people in charge that are doing things that are unbelievably stupid. And you're firing these people and letting them people in charge commit ignorance. Gone to seed, okay? So first of all, you start treating your people right. Second of all these people that you fired that have pending cases, all these lawsuits that you've got, stop them right there. Go settle with those people. Bring those people back. Those are the people you want. Those are the people that had the courage to stand up to HARP. Those are the courage that had the courage to stand up to the administration. Those are the people you need. Those are the people you want. Those people with experience. Go get those wardens that you fired. Go get all of those people that like the psychologist who had the guts to call out rape that you know happened. You know it happened. And you fire her. That's shameful. It's shameful. Do what's right. Do what's right. Let people see you do what's right. You want to bring back respect. You want to bring back dignity. You want to have people look up to you and listen to you and want to, you know what? Want to run through a brick wall, because when people believe in you, guess what? They will get behind you. That's the way you change things. That's the way you change. You motivate people to make this place right. And again, you do it by doing right. You do it by not what you say, but what you do. And people seeing you do that, go out, drop all these lawsuits, put the people back in, put people to work, start calling a bunch of these people who left or who quit or who was fired and say, hey, could you come back? We need your experience. We need you. Bring them in. That way you don't have to do all new training. You have to do maybe a week or two of orientation, bring them back and get them current training. Guys, I think people, if they saw that, I think that we would see people ready to jump in. That's one thing that I can tell you. I've worked around the Department of Corrections 35 years. I love the Department of Corrections. I'm involved after I've been retired. I've been retired 15 years, and I'm still involved in the Department of Corrections because it's a big part of my life. I love you guys. I love our department, but I want to see it. I want to see it so much better. It hurts me to see it in that we're in such a bad shape. And so here's what I'm saying is when the employees start respecting you, and when the employees see you're trying to make this the place that it needs to be, they'll start calling people. They'll start calling their neighbors and their kids and everybody and saying, "Hey, this guy's the real deal. I think if you come in and we can get hired, we can change this place. We can move it. We can motivate it. We can do things." So one, you got to treat your people right. Two, you got to show them, not talk. You got to show them actions. And the action that you need to start with is drop all these lawsuits. That's going to send a huge message. Three, you need to assess each prison and find out what's going on. And you need to assess your own house because you are bloated administration and you got a whole lot of people that Hart brought in that know absolutely nothing about corrections. People resent them. People don't like it. And again, they are a catastrophe. They are deadly for you. These people need to be reassigned. You notice I don't say, I'm not a big person that likes to go in and fire a whole bunch of people. I'm a person that likes to go in and find out, what are you actually good at? I don't take a doctor, fire him, and replace him with somebody who don't know what the hell they're doing. You know, that's not a good logic. That's not a good practice. And then have to hire somebody under that person to do what needs to be done anyways, and then leave a person in control that knows absolutely nothing what they're doing. That is stupidity, okay? That's just downright ignorance. That's favoritism. That's cronyism. That's not caring about the job, and I'm just going to do, you know, it doesn't matter what this person destroys. I'm going to give that person a job no matter what, and they can destroy the whole place. The whole place can burn down, but my little friend is going to have a good job. And they're going to get extra super great pay, just like I did. It's no different than what you seen Harp. The governor put Harp in there because they're good friends. I mean, favoritism, nepotism, all the isms. And guess what? No matter what kind of disaster, and there's no way that the governor couldn't know that he's a disaster. We pointed it out time and time again. Look at all the situations they got in. He's a disaster. But the governor said, I don't give a damn about corrections, and I don't give a damn about the state of Oklahoma. It could all burn down. I got my good friend over here. Get him a $90,000 raise, embezzlement. It's okay. We don't care. Now, that's what's been said for the last 3 years. That's the message as the whole place has just disintegrated. They don't care. Director Farris, I hope you care. I hope you are somebody that's not just going to ride this political train as long as you can ride it and then get off where it leaves you. I hope that you will go, you know what? My family's been invested in this. I've been invested in this. I know all the people invested in this. And this is important to me. And this is what I love. And I hope that you'll do the right thing. I truly do. I hope you'll do the right thing. Do the right thing by these employees that have been fired wrongfully, demoted wrongfully. Do what's right. Hire people back to make this department where it needs to be. Do what's right. Admit that the problems, call out the problems, identify the problems, call them out. Stop this cover up. Be transparent. The best thing you could ever be is transparent. In government, be transparent. Every contract should be transparent. Every issue, every incident. We don't want to cover it up. We want the world to see it because we ain't got nothing to cover up because we do it professional and we do it right. And when you do it right and you do it professional, you don't have to cover it up. You can proudly say, here we are. This is what we did. I will say training, when you train people, when I went to work, we got trained. And I joke all the time. I said this the other night. You know, here's the deal. I said this. I told some people. I said, y'all don't know this, but I'm a highly trained. I told the judge that the other day sitting in the room. I said, Judge, you may not believe this, but I'm a highly trained individual. And you know what? I'm not lying, because the department trained me on interviewing. The department trained me on assessment. The department trained me on cell entry. The department trained me on house entry. The department trained me on gun recovery. The department trained me on self-defense. And we're not talking a little training. We're talking a lot of training on all of these. I mean, we were trained all the time. And man, I want to tell you something. I'm pretty confident in who I am because of that training. And I will tell you what happened in that training. We began to compete like we would compete with CERT teams. We competed all over the United States. We competed with different groups. And you know what? There was a camaraderie, but there's also a competition. And we were always seeing who could be best, what prison could be best. And guess what? It made us all better. And again, we had a unity. There was a family type unity. And the people that I haven't, I mean, I've been retired forever, and we still get together out there at Bowler, little old community, and we have dinner once a year. Just the people who used to work out there. That's the kind of unity there were. I meet people from other prisons now, and man, there's just an instant bond. And we don't have to always agree. I mean, but there's a bond between us saying, hey, you know what? And I will tell you, the people who come up in that, the people who come up in that training, in that atmosphere, in that respect, are just different, man. You let them go into a prison and they will change that prison. Now, Director Farris, I'm going to tell you something, and I'm not trying to pit you against your brother or anything else, but me and your brother butt heads, we're a whole lot alike. Me and your brother butt heads sometimes. And some of the people, you know, Jim's kind of like me. Either you love him or you mad at him. You know what I'm saying? I get the same thing. I don't have a whole lot of middle ground with people. But I can tell you this. I can drop your brother in a prison. I can give you an example. He took over Mac Alford. And I'm driving down the road one day, and I call him from driving down the road, and I said, Jim, I want to tell you something. I said, your prison looks different driving outside. You could see the difference in that prison driving down the road. It was clean. Man, I mean, the signs, everything. It's just different. It showed pride. It showed pride in who we are and what we have, and it cleaned up. I can tell you when he went to OSP, we went in there with the group one day, and man, I'd been there just months before that, and the walls were peeling and everything looked pretty bad. It looked bad. And I showed up. He hadn't been there that long. I don't know. He'd been there a little bit, but the walls were painted, the floors were painted. I mean, looked clean. And we're walking down the hall, and I said, well, I said, obviously you knew he was coming, so it looks pretty good today. He turned around and told me, he said, you call me when you get to the gate. He said, no announcement. You come in here any day you want, any day. You're welcome to walk right in here unannounced. It'll look just like this. Guess what? I did come on, and I don't even know that Jim knew this. I came on a visitation, didn't tell nobody, just come in on a visitation to see somebody. And guess what? It looked just like that, unannounced, no special deal. It looked just like that, because guess what? He took pride in what he was doing. He took pride in that we're going to turn this around. And again, me and Jim had our differences on HARP, but he worked for HARP, and he could only do what HARP had him doing. And so again, you know, I'm not trying to pitch you to, but what I'm trying to say is you need to have that kind of pride in the job that you do. You need to have the pride, and you need to put your people above all the politics. Politics are tough. Politics are tough. I'm in politics. I know that. Politics are tough. Right and wrong is easy. Right and wrong is easy. Do what's right. And here's the deal. I'm telling you this as a person who cares for you. I'm telling you this as a person who wants to see you succeed. I'm telling you this because I want our department to be the #1 in the country. That's what I hope for you. #1 in the country, not #2. #2's loser. #1 in the country. But you gotta call it out. You gotta admit that you have a massive problem, and trying to act like, oh, JJ Humphrey's just spouting off, and JJ Humphrey is the problem. Let me tell you something. I'm not the problem. I'm the one calling out the problem. I can see where I'm a thorn in y'all's honey. I can see that. I am not the problem. Bobby Cleveland is not the problem. The problem is you're shorthanded. The problem is you have 4 deaths this week. The problem is you have at least 2 to 3 deaths every time you turn around. The problem is how you treat your employees. The problem is you promote people who aren't worth a damn, and you demote people who would actually do the job. The problem is you don't want to hear anybody stand up and claim the truth, and anybody who does claim the truth, you fire them. And that's the people you need around you straighten it out. The problem is you've gotten rid of all your experienced people, and now you got a bunch of people running around who don't even know how. Your most experienced person's probably got 3 to 4 years. When I started, that's barely even any experience. You wouldn't make lieutenant unless you had probably 7 or 8. You wouldn't be captain unless you had probably 10 to 12 years. You know what? And these wardens had that kind of time in. And most of everybody had worked multiple jobs. You know, I mean, go find, I'll give example again with your brother right there. Your brother been a correctional officer. Your brother, I think, was a case manager. I don't remember if he's unit manager, probably was. He's deputy warden. You see what I'm saying? You had these people had all of these multiple jobs, so they had a good, well-rounded idea of what's going on. And now you get up there to that top and you go, oh, well, they just don't understand the administrative side of this. Hogwash. You don't understand what's actually going on. The job ain't up here. The job is down there in the prisons. The job is down there on probation. That's the job. That's the job. Your job is to assist them. Your job is to keep these prisons clean and safe and professional. That's your job. And I'm going to tell you something. Y'all failed. I mean, you have failed. And the first part of being successful is admitting what you're good at and knowing what you're terrible at and fixing what you're terrible at and finding ways to address those problems. You can't address them unless you acknowledge them. So I'm asking you, I hope you listen to this. I hope somebody gets this to you, because I'm telling you, I wish you the best. I personally, I could not tell you, there's nobody up there that I would rather see succeed than you. I helped you get your job. You know it. I'm not saying that. I'm openly saying it because it's true. And the deal is, guess what? I hope you will listen to me, because I have nothing but a desire to see you succeed. And I don't know if they're going to put you in full time or not, but what time they give you, you ought to shine like nobody else has shined. You should go in there. You should start cleaning house. You should desanitize everything. You should call out the problems. You should acknowledge everything. You should get a vision. You should start checking with people that you know, people that maybe you disagree with, or you couldn't, because you work for somebody that maybe you couldn't. It's time to call those people in and say, what would you do? It's time that you go find people who know how to fix the problem and ask them what you do, and start to listen to people. Don't go one person. Go out there and get a lot of advice. A wise person seeks advice, seeks wisdom. Wise person seeks wisdom. And after everything is heard, then they make up their mind. And again, the question is, are you going to continue on the political train, on a train to disaster? Are you just going to keep on and go the head in the sand, ostrich in the sand, which is hey, that's what's been going on the last 4 years. I don't know that I'd say Director Crow had his head in the sand. I think he was just overwhelmed and didn't know how to accomplish what he needed to do. I think that he was just overwhelmed. And again, it's an overwhelming achievement. I mean, how do you get when you're half staff? How do you get that? How do you get people in? How do you get them trained? How do you get the money? But I'm going to tell you something. One of the biggest problems you have in the legislature on funding is because the entire legislature think you guys are liars. They don't believe a word you say. I mean, most of them not going to tell you that. I will tell you that. They talk to me frequently. All of them up there will tell you, don't believe nothing they say. And again, look at what just happened on, I can tell you they were discussing at the Senate about firing Harp. They should have done it. They shouldn't have talked about it. They should have done it. But again, here's the thing. You know, how do you change that? And I can tell you how you change it. You become very transparent. You walk over there and you just be so honest that it's obvious you're not lying. I mean, who would come over and say, hey, this is what they told you, but here's what the truth is. This is what we've been saying, but here's what the truth is. You walk over that, guess what? When they start seeing honesty, they start seeing you work, they see you actually trying to change things, and you become a person that they can trust, and you go over and make some friends. You go over that quit going to the speaker's office. Quit going to these people that you think, oh, hey, we're in here in the big seat, and we're in here. These are the only guys change things. Guess what? Win the hearts of those legislators who can actually make some difference. And again, I can tell you that whether we're speaking about the speaker, the wheels are coming off his bus. And again, he doesn't have the authority that Charles McCall had because he don't know how to run things. That's called experience. And Charles knew how to keep he could herd the cats. Charles could keep control. Charles run a tight ship. Okay, I can see if y'all want to go in there, Charles gets stuff done. This guy can't get stuff done. Guess what? Same thing on Senate. They're falling apart. And if you're going to be successful in the legislative, you've got to go back in there and start working with all the people over there, not just one or two. Like y'all played. Harp wanted to play little games like he's the big wig, big cheese, and he's the answer straight to the governor. And y'all played that game. Not just Harp. You know, Director, you were there with him, and you can't deny that. I mean, you've been with him side by, but you worked for him. And I can say you had to do what you had to do, and I think everybody understands that. Okay, you're just being an employee, and you had to do that. But today is your day to shine. Today, you can't hide behind Harp. You can't hide behind anything. You are the man. You are the director, and with that comes great responsibility. With that comes great accountability. And I don't know how much time you have to prove who you are, to prove what you're going to do. But I'm going to tell you something. I would use the time that I have. And first thing, I'm really encouraging you, go out and win the hearts of your employees first. Go out and win the hearts of your employees. Get more employees. Your number one problem. Honesty on what is going on. Bring back transparency so that we can all see if an officer is harmed. Please listen to me. If an officer is spit on, that inmate needs to be charged. If an officer throws urine on or feces on an inmate throws urine or feces on one of your officers, charge them. File charges on them. I mean, show your officers we don't tolerate that. We do not tolerate that. File charges on them all the way. If an officer's assaulted, man, I mean, make certain. But here's the other deal. Quit hiding it and call it out. I would be on the media saying, guess what? Our officer was assaulted. Guess what? Our officers are in danger. Our officers are the ones out here every day putting their lives on the line. You know what? Everybody looks up troopers. Everybody looks up this police officer. Guess what? That correctional officer's probably seeing as much or more than any of these guys ever dreamed about seeing every day. Stabbings, beatings, uh, threats to their life. Guess what? Shouldn't they be acknowledged for that? Shouldn't they get called out? Shouldn't we be proud of who they are? Shouldn't our state recognize these are the guys? And when you get them trained and when they become the professionals that I know they can be and have been before, and you get them trained, and guess what? You get that experience and you get that going like it used to, and like we've seen it in the past, that those people are the trained and those people are the elite. And that's what I can tell you. When I was there, Oklahoma City bombing occurs, guess what? We're going. Jails having, a riot, guess what? They're calling us. Go down there and fix that jail riot. Inmates run off from a county jail. Somebody runs away from the troopers. Guess who they were calling? They're calling us. Go out there because we had an awesome dog team. We had an awesome dog trainer. We had an awesome team that could get out there and track these people down. If we had a riot at a jail, guess what? We had a riot team that would walk in there and take that place back because we were trained. If there was a hostage situation, we had hostage trained situations, people trained in hostage situations. We had people trained in interviewing. Man, I can't tell you how much training I had to have in interviewing techniques, in assessing people, in assessing the situations, in investigation. All of these things highly trained in. All of our, anybody on the CERT, any probation pro officer, your correctional officers used to be quite a few of them CERT, not just CERT qualified, but CLEAT certified. And again, man, there was great pride. And I can tell you this. I mean, if you want to go back a few years there at Lexington, they had a shooting range, and they had an obstacle course, and they had people come in from military, from SWAT teams, from New York, from Colorado, man, all over the place. And we used to kick their butt. You want to talk about some pride. You want to talk about pride when you have Colorado CERT team come in, and you have New York SWAT team come in, and you have the Lawton SWAT team from the military come in, and you're out there competing with them, and you're kicking their hiney. Guess what? You walk away with a little pride. If you can just hang tight with those guys, you're going, hey, we're some. You understand what I'm saying, Director? What I'm trying to tell you is we were the elite, not of Oklahoma. We were the elite in the United States. We were that well trained, and there was pride. And that's why 15 years later, that I'm retired, that I come on here every week and wear this shirt. That is why I go meet with people, because I love, you cut me, I still bleed DOC. You cut me, I love DOC. I'm not here because I'm mad at you or mad at Harp or mad at anybody. I'm here because I love that department and I want to see it better. And it grieves me to my core to see what's been done with it. It grieves me to my core to see the disaster, the clown, the stupidity of Director Harp, who ought to be run out on a rail. And he ought to be in charge criminally, in my opinion. It grieves me because he is that kind of disaster. It grieves me that we had a governor that allowed him to do that. It grieves me that we had a public safety secretary who allowed him to do that. And I'm going to tell you, I have great hope. I have great desire to see you succeed. I have great hope to see you stand up and be the guy that I know you can be. But I'm going to tell you something. There's only one person can do it, and that's you. You got to make up your mind. Are you going to be that? Because I can tell you this. Everybody knows I'm running for lieutenant governor. And I'm running for lieutenant governor because I've gotten up there and I've had such a fight with them that they've got me shut down on bills. They've got me shut down everywhere. But I'm going to tell you something. I can verify to everything that I've said. I am 1,000% correct. Now, I could just quit and go home, or I could ride the bench and just ride out another 2 years. I think I probably could have got elected in my area and rode out another 2 years, and I could have said, well, I termed out and I did my gig, and I'm all good. Okay, I could have done that. I chose to run for lieutenant governor because I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference in the Department of Corrections. I want to have a job where I can actually have influence, and where these clowns that will not do anything, that are playing politics, that try to act like, oh, I did all this when they did absolutely nothing, when they stole and robbed from other people's bills so that they could claim them and take them and say, oh, look what I did. No, you didn't. You stole that from somebody else. It wasn't your ideal, and you plagiarized and you stole it. And you knew the Department of Corrections was terrible. You knew DHS was a disaster and kids being molested, and you did nothing. I want a position where I can come in and say, how do we change it? Lieutenant governor has not been used that way, but lieutenant governor has that potential. And again, I look past what I don't look at what was or what is. I look at what could be. And I look at what can I do, and I can take that position, and I guarantee you I can turn it around. And I know I could. And again, it may be a little dogfight, but I don't mind a dogfight. But here's the question. The Department of Corrections is ready for a leader who can turn this ship around. Are you going to be that guy? Are you going to be the man that steps up and does what's right? And I will tell you this, if I get beat, I'm running for lieutenant governor. That is a big, you think about me and where I come from and who I am, and to even consider running, just being in the race is like, wow, it's kind of like humbling and kind of just awestruck that, you're talking about the whole state and you're asking the whole state to vote for you and to believe that you can do something to change. It's actually pretty humbling. But if I get beat, I would like to make a show. I don't want to I hate a bad butt whipping. I don't mind if I you knew I was in the fight, I can keep my head up a little bit. So I hope I don't get my butt beat too bad. But if I hope to win. I mean, I'm in it to win. I'm going to tell y'all something. I don't play to lose. I'm in it to win. But here's the deal. If I do what's right, and I stand up for what's right, and I don't back down, and I do all I can. If I go home with my head held high, and I go home proud that I've done everything I can for the people in the state of Oklahoma, for the prisons, for DHS, for abused kids, for everybody in the district I represent and serve, and for the state of Oklahoma. I'm going to say this, you guys that work in there, it's time you join OCP. It's time that you say, I'm going to change where I live, where I work, and who I am, and we're going to change this. Join us in the fight. Come and join us and become a part of it. Don't just join, become a part of change. You are the person who changed. You're responsible. Director, I tell you, I want you to win. I want you to win. I'll pledge to you. I'll help you. I'll help you all I can. And I know Bob will help you all you can. If you'll join us and work with us. And Director, we don't want to fight you. We want to work with you. We want to see you succeed. However, if you continue down the same path that Director Harp has, I'll be your worst damn nightmare. I can tell you that. And I can love you. I can hug your neck, but I'm going to tell you something. If you continue the same disaster, killing people, letting people be raped, covering up PREA, covering up assaults on your officer, ignoring assaults on your officers, demoting good officers and firing good officers, we're going to have a fight. And I hope to join you. I hope to work with you. I want to tell everybody on here, I love every one of y'all, and I want to see all of us do better. I want to see our nation do better. I want to say that I hope that God will bless us, that God will bless our nation. We pray for peace for the family of Charlie Kirk. And guys, I pray that we will see success. And I pray that we'll see the ship turn around in the Department of Corrections. Y'all have a great day.